so broke. How am I going to make any money?
Did I hear that you're broke? There's your answer. Have a look at this.
Invest in your wealth and in our world.
My name is Niamh Farrell, and today we aim to highlight to you why to invest in our Gloss Equity ETF. In today's market, the choices for investments are limitless. Here at Maples Investments, we have looked at the sustainability and environmental impact of our companies and use this as a determining factor when constructing our portfolio. As a result, our portfolio will meet both your financial needs and the planet's needs regarding sustainability.
Hi, I'm Laura, and I was involved in looking at ESG investing. ESG, environmental, social and governance, is a way of describing investing in sustainable investments. ESG investing has changed drastically over the last couple of decades, and at Maple Investments, our mission is to make a positive impact while creating a profitable return on your investment fund. Sustainable investing is known to have higher profitability and lower risk than the overall market, and in particular during these times of high volatility. For example, a Morgan Stanley report looked at over 1,800 ETFs in the first half of 2020, and sustainable funds outperforming their traditional peers by a median of 3.9%. Investors are changing at the moment, and the millennial generation are starting to become more wealthy, and their priorities are different to the previous generations. In the selection process for the fund, a vast number of sectors were considered, and we chose to invest in apparel, alternative energy, electric motor vehicles, and food and beverages. Many companies in the apparel industry have begun to implement environmental and social policies over the past decade. It has begun by tackling issues such as recycling and sourcing materials ethically. It is also committed to ensure better labour practice, compensation, and safe working conditions. The alternative energy industry is directly involved in helping the world become more sustainable. When discussing environmental issues, green energy is the top of the list, and as a high-speed growth has led to setting new records for electricity generation. The electric motor vehicle sector has taken the first steps to help reduce emissions and revolutionise the motor vehicle industry. This area is rapidly growing at the moment due to many countries setting goals for their own markets, and across the world, climate change has risen to the top of many governments' agendas. The food and beverage industry has largely involved in helping to source food ethically and to help provide clean water and sanitation across the world. It is a heavily consumer-facing industry, and it demonstrates this understanding by developing rapidly in these areas.
This ETF is run by 5 passionate final year students dedicated to meeting the needs of investors. We currently manage $10 million in assets, with this figure expected to grow significantly in the long run. All of the equities included in this ETF have been carefully chosen after in-depth research with fundamental and technical analysis, and you can be assured that our team have worked endlessly to establish a reliable portfolio with you in mind. This ETF is continuously monitored by the team in order to keep targeted returns in check while also maintaining appropriate risk levels. Maple Investments provide complete transparency to investors by supplying quarterly reports outlining relevant details of their investment. The management cost associated with investment is 0.25%. This is a small price to pay when considering returns that will be achieved while also helping the environment.
The Gloss Equity ETF invests in 100% equities and consists of 13 holdings. The fund has proved strong, having faced past challenges such as the COVID-19 impact. We at Maple Investments pride ourselves on our global outlook and believe in each individual's responsibility to better our climate and make a change. Our global position is represented within our holdings as we have a diversified ETF. The fund has had a stellar performance to date and currently have a 15% return for 2020. Total monthly return to date is 25.94%, along with a monthly average of 4.4%. We experienced an impressive recovery from the effect COVID-19 had on all markets back in March and have restored our positive market position. November proved to be a challenging month, which was to be expected due to the US presidential election and the uncertainty with a potential COVID-19 vaccine. President-elect Joe Biden will significantly improve green investment markets and our ETF. We can see the impact the election had on the markets and the steady recovery Gloss Equity ETF has made in the subsequent days. Analysis was carried out from November 1st to 23rd. The fund ended the month with a positive 0.7852% return, and the daily returns averaged 1.66%. As for our current and future position, Gloss Equity ETF is on track to target 7 to 9.5% returns over the long run and expect to grow by $1.2 million by end 2021.
Hi, I'm Ellen. I was in charge of overlooking the risks involved with investing in Gloss Equity ETF. We used 3 methods to measure the volatility: standard deviation, the Sharpe ratio, and beta. The 5-year average standard deviation of 10.44% means the return does not have major variations with respect to the average performance. The 5-year Sharpe ratio of 0.384 means the fund has been able to achieve on average a higher return than a risk-free asset. The beta of 1.15 indicates the portfolio is 15% more volatile than the overall market. The techniques we used to minimise the risk were rebalancing and diversification. Rebalancing involved frequent periodic monitoring of our portfolio. We also ensured our portfolio invests in a well-diversified range of equities. Our portfolio includes equities in several different sectors to erode the risk of one fund's being lost if any one sector fails. The equities come from a range of countries across the globe to protect our portfolio against a major crash if any one event was to happen in a particular country. We've included equities in both cyclical and defensive investments to further reduce the risk of our portfolio. It is important to be aware that investments may possibly fall, as is the nature of the stock market. Our projections and recommendations are based off historical data. The actual level of return will depend on specific investments made and other factors including general economics, politics, and geographical events.
I hope you have found this presentation informative, and on behalf of our team, I would like to thank you all for listening.